What, I don't look good.
Actually, why don't we start with that, Jerry? You look as good as you did 24 years ago. How do you stay so healthy?
It just means that I didn't look so good 24 years ago. No, truthfully, I'm lucky. So, I'm relatively healthy, and I stay active. You know, I had good genes. I had good parents.
I see, kept going. Okay, no.
But I'm not a perfect example of eating well, or, you know, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. That's the only healthy part about me, but I eat horribly. So don't eat like I do. I'm in shape, but a circle's a shape.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got an important announcement from our good friends at Boston Medical Center.
We give them an announcement now.
Beginning at 11:45 in the Boston Medical Center, Healthy Living Forum Room 768. We invite you to join Catherine Gergen Barnett, MD, Integrative Medicine, talking about getting a good night's sleep. Tips to improve your sleep and well-being. Find out how important sleep is to health and wellness. Boston Medical Center Healthy Living Forum, 768, beginning in just a few minutes.
Just a couple minutes. I want to get to Steve. You know, Steve, you started your career, your television career, on the set here, but it's been an amazing journey. A lot of folks don't know some of your law enforcement. You're from Chicago. Although, ladies and gentlemen, he was with David Ortiz yesterday, right? Tell us a little bit about that and about your journey.
Well, my son's a big baseball fan, so he was actually supposed to come up on a trip with me today, but he's actually pitching in a championship game right after I leave here. I'm racing back. But I'm really good friends with AJ Brzezinski, and so they brought me to the locker room, and David Ortiz came up to me and said that he's a big fan of my show, so it was really cool hanging out with him last night.
You have had an amazing journey. I mean, a lot of us remember you breaking up all those fights and everything over on Jerry's show. But now over the last 8 years, you have your own show. What are some more memorable moments of your particular show?
Well, if you watch my show when the girl threw the ball and almost knocked me out, that's probably the most memorable moment that happened on my show. But I should have sent her a dozen roses after that show aired because it was the highest rated show we ever had. So I'm glad she hit me with the ball.
Well, part of what you do, I mean, you're a big guy, you're 6'3", right? And you have to stay healthy, you have to stay in shape. What are some of the tips that you do?
My whole life has been, you know, being in the Marine Corps, which obviously you stay in shape in there, you're always running and working out. And then as a policeman, I wanted to stay in shape because you have to fight some bad guys. And so I'm 50 years old and I'm not as fast and strong as I used to be, but I just try to maintain my weight, not get too heavy, and work out as much as I can. And I eat right only because my wife wants me to be healthy, so she cooks good meals and I eat them.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know you must know, hit the accent, Jerry in his previous life was mayor of Cincinnati.
Cleveland, right?
But you know what, we want to give him credit. A couple of years he was in Boston. He was showing me on his phone. He's got some pictures of him at Fenway Park. But he's got one going like this. Could you explain why you were so upset at being at Fenway Park? Just let your fans know a little bit. Yeah?
Okay.
Especially the guy with the Red Sox hat.
Before I tell you the story, there's security
Right here. He's right here.
He's on his own.
Well, here's the truth. We all tend to root for the teams that we grew up with. Well, when I came to America at the age of 5, we came into New York, so I grew up in New York.
Yeah, just like if it was a show. Let him have it.
Here's the good news.
Well, we got good news.
New York is part of America.
Hey!
So even though, well, anyway, when I was mayor of Cincinnati played the Yankees in the World Series. And this is a true story. Cincinnati, well, the Cincinnati Enquirer found out that I had been a Yankee fan. So they, a day before the World Series, they put out a headline, Springer Yankee fan. So when I threw out the first ball, 58,000 people booed me. Which wasn't real smart politically. So I come to your country in Boston.
Yes, Red Sox Nation.
Yeah. And it's a great rivalry. It's the best rivalry in sports, I think, Yankees and Boston. So, you know, you guys have won more recently than we have, so God bless you. And, you know, one day you'll have 27 World Championships. Yeah. No, but I like Boston, but you know, I like Major League Baseball better, that's all. I'm kidding. Don't hurt me.
Steve, I want to come back to you because, you know, obviously being on the show with Jerry and then doing your own show. What are some of the stuff that you learned from Jerry from behind the scenes? Not so much on the scene. No, seriously.
I've been with Jerry for 20 years now. I started on the show in 1994. And what I always took away from Jerry, Jerry's never says no to anybody for an autograph, taking time meeting people. He is the most gracious celebrity you will ever meet in your life.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to a man here who, mayor of Cincinnati, has his own show for the 24th season now, currently hosting The Price is Right in Missouri. But what I always remember him is your beautiful dance moves on Dancing with the Stars. When did you get your dancing?
I did the same dance every week, but I just did it at different speeds. Nobody knew. No, first of all, thank you, Steve. That's a nice thing. But yeah, the Dancing with the Stars was fun, and I did it. My daughter Katie was she was getting married, and she kind of talked me into doing the show. So the whole concept was that I was learning to do the waltz for Katie's wedding. Which I did, and it was a lot of fun being on the show, but I'll never do it again. That angle kind of reminds me because every dance, every week, I would always end my dance in the same corner because that's where the paramedics were.
But the truth of it is, by Jerry going on with Dancing with the Stars, I ended up hosting a show while he was gone, and that's how I got my show.
Yeah.
So if he never went on Dancing with the Stars, I never would have got my show.
Because so it's all quite connected. Now, when you hear of Boston, Massachusetts, and you're here, what's kind of the first thing that comes into you?
Man, it's the Red Sox. I'm just a huge baseball fan. I grew up right down the street from Wrigley Field, so an iconic stadium like that. So when they will come to Fenway for the first time a couple years ago, it was a huge deal for me. And so the Cubs, that's my team, they stink. You know, let's face it. So when I was a young kid, my American League team was the Red Sox because I'm Polish. I was a big Paul Yastrzemski fan.
Yeah. Now, growing up, did they have baseball?
I have a lot of money, so I'm a Yankee fan. The only part of me that's Republican.
Jerry, what do we look forward to?
A ratings problem.
What can we look forward to as you enter another season on television, Jerry? What have you got for us? I mean, you've always been very creative. What can we look forward to?
Well, the show's stupid.
We didn't know that.
But the truth is, it's a lot of fun to do. I mean, that's the honest answer. I'm at an age and a point in my life where I don't even make a living anymore. I do it because it's fun. And I enjoy just talking with regular people. It's fun.
Have you ever stayed in contact with some of the guests that have come on?
Seen our show? First, you're assuming they have phones. No.
How about you? What's the most fun for you during the show? I mean, it's crazy. It is a crime. So you have to do
when I worked as a policeman, that's a tough job. And, I worked 6 days a week, and nights, and holidays, and all that. And for me, the greatest thing I get such a good kick out of being in TV and doing that Jerry show and my own, is getting to do things like this, traveling around, meeting ball players and meeting everybody that watches the show and how appreciative. Like being here today, not one person has said something bad. It's always, we love you, we love the show. So this is what's fun.
Any advice for anybody out there who might be looking to go into any one of your different careers? Because you were an elected official, again, a TV host.
Well, I've been everything you can. I mean, I've been a lawyer, a politician, a news anchor, and a talk show host. Once I sell used cars, I've done the whole time.
That's the only thing left on the bucket list.
And you should all pray for me, because if I get to heaven, you're all going.
Jerry. See, when did you realize that you were good at this? I mean, because you were, you know...
And he's great at it. He's not good at it. He's really good.
I still have fears that I'm going to be discovered that I'm a fraud. You know, like, why did this guy get his own show? So, no, I literally wake up every day, and I'm so fortunate that I have this job now. And the other part of having this job is we finished taping our season May 21st. So I'm off for the summer. I get to spend every day with my kids, and that's just a really great part of the job, is some time off. And I'm very fortunate to be this position. They have this job, they have this career, and just enjoy it like I do.
I want to also thank both of you, especially for coming up this weekend. This is Father's Day weekend, and it's a very special time for families. So, how important was family for you and this changed to be for you?
Well, it's everything. I've been married for 41 years. No, you should clap for her. Now, in fairness, she doesn't know what I do for a living. I tell her I sell insurance. I'm not going to tell her insurance. No, but, you know, and we have a daughter who is our life, and now we have a grandson who is just everything. Oh, yeah. So the other day, I'm taking our grandson, Richard, he's 5 years old. So the other day, I'm taking him to kindergarten. And I said, come on, Richard, we're running late. He says, don't worry, I'll buy the open till 3.
What did you share, Steve, about your family and family life when you were off the TV show? How do you balance, you know, the TV stuff and your schedule and being a dad?
Being a father has changed my life. I mean, I don't even know if I could do my show if I had never became a father, because it's really changed me as a person. And I get such a kick, like, I enjoyed going to the game last night, the Red Sox game. But now when I go to my kids' games, my daughter plays basketball, my son plays baseball, and every other sport. And to me, there's nothing more exciting, more thrilling to watch my kids perform and compete and I'm fortunate enough that I get to go to all the games. And like I said, as soon as we're done here, I'm jumping on the plane racing back so I can see my son pitching his game. So that's me.
And I imagine tomorrow you guys will spend Father's Day together.
We will, and by the way, my wife, I think a lot of people know this, she's my executive producer, and she's Jerry's executive producer too, so. And my life, because of Jerry, my whole life, I changed careers because Jerry gave me this great opportunity. I met my wife on the show, my kids, and it all came from going to work one day at the Jerry Slater Show. My whole life changed.
Life was amazing. She's an incredible executive. She did a great job. But the secret about why Steve has such a great show and he'll be on as long as he wants to be on is because he's authentic. And maybe there's a common denominator in what makes successful television is that both of us in the percent had a life before we got to television. So in other words, there's an authenticity to it that translates when you're on every day, you're in people's homes every day. You can't fake it. Because the one thing the camera does is it can tell who's not being real. So you're seeing a real police officer on the show. Someone who's had life experiences dealing with people in very difficult times in their lives. You can't make that up. You can't go to a school and learn that. Your television degree isn't going to get that done. So the reason these talk shows are working is because those of us who've been lucky enough to have successful shows really did have a life before we went in front of the camera. And I think that translates, and that's why he's so good at what he does.
Now, give us a little bit of some behind-the-scenes stuff of the show. Just for starters, the executive producer, she is really your boss, in essence, your wife.
Well, she's in charge of the whole show, and everybody reports to her. And she shapes my show. And the great thing with my show is my wife knows me better than anybody. So she knows what kind of stories that I want to do, and there's certain stories that I don't want to do. So she really does a great job of polishing the show up.
And I want to get a little bit to that and get a little time to think about that. What are some of the stories that you would rather not do? What are some of the stuff that you probably would want to stay away from? Because it seems like the audience, you guys have a sense of everything and anything goes. But I'm sure there are certain things that you would probably tell your wife, or she knows not even to go.
Well, the shows I'm probably best at, unfortunately, is when it's about child abuse. Because I'm a father and I have children, and those stories are tough because you know that there's a child out there suffering. You have some parents that are very neglectful or abusive, and that's, you worry, you wonder in your mind because you want everybody's child to be as safe as I try to make it for my own children. So we do those shows, and those shows, I think they're successful because everybody has a connection to that. Everybody likes protecting children, most of us do, you know. Right. Unfortunately, we have all this gun violence in the country right now, and you have a million things to worry about. You shouldn't have to be worried in your own home.
How about you, Jerry? You've got a lot of samples, 24 years. What are some of the stuff that you have said to your producer and said, I'd rather really not talk about? Or have you, or is everything in for you?
Well, I have nothing to do with my show. No, and I mean that actually in a serious way. The way we do it, our show is about inappropriate behavior, it's about outrageousness. So if someone calls us with a normal, uplifting story, we're not allowed to do it. It has to get sent to the show. So I know going in every day they're going to hand me something that's crazy. But I never know what the subject is. So you see me carrying around the cards, but all the card has on it are the names of the guests. And then my job, and you see every segment starts out the same way. I say, so what's going on? My job is to listen to their stories and then make jokes. So you know, it's a totally different show than Steve's. My show is about outrageousness, and I'm supposed to try to be funny. But I never know the subject. If I knew what my show was about, I wouldn't come in. The show's stupid. I'm not going to go there. So that's how the show's different. We don't deal with anything that's serious. I mean, if people get angry, it's legitimate, it's real. But they're angry about dating. So they're really angry at the moment, and tomorrow they're dating someone else. So I can't sit here and tell you that we deal with life-changing issues. We tell our people ahead of time, do not come on our show. I think that in your health. This is a television show. This is silly. You go to a doctor, you got a real problem. Our show is about outrageous behavior, and if you want to come on and vent, go ahead and vent. But I'm not qualified.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen, beginning.
Very good, Sheriff. Thanks for bringing it back to health. So, ladies and gentlemen, a nice round of applause for Steve.
Woo! Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Street